Fellow Ghanaians, to easily check the number of SIM cards registered to your Ghana card, please use the short code *402*1#. You can follow the following steps to find out how many SIM cards are registered to your Ghana card. Step 1. Dial the short code *402*1# on any network. Step 2. Enter your Ghana card PIN. Make sure you enter letters and figures without any spaces or hyphens for verification, just like this. Step 3. Make sure you enter your date of birth in numbers with the day followed by the month and the year you were born in without any spaces or hyphen for verification, just like this. Step 4. Once verified, you will receive an SMS with a list of mobile numbers linked to your Ghana card, including the corresponding networks. Now, if you identify any unknown mobile number or numbers linked to your Ghana card, please visit the service center or retail shop of your service provider for a delinking of the number or numbers. For more information, call 100 on all networks or NCA on 0800 110 622. Remember to register your SIM cards before the 31st of May 2023 to avoid being deactivated from your network. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications with information provided by the NCA.
Please, number. All right. Okay. Okay. 0548 24 42 42. Okay. All right. Julia, please, there's an emergency. I have to go to junior school right now. They say he just collapsed and I'm even confused. God, please, take this money, eh? Go across the street and take this number and send the money. Please be fast about it, I'm begging.
Madam, are you sure?
Please! Julia, my son is sick. I have to get to the school. What are you telling me?
Madam, please calm down. This just doesn't feel right.
What doesn't feel right?
I mean, can you call someone?
No!
Someone, anyone else at the school and find out if he's okay? Please. It wouldn't hurt to try.
Okay, if you say so. Oh, my son. Please. Oh, pick this up. Yes, hello. Miss Ofori. I'm fine. Yes, I just want to inquire about Junior. Yes. He's fine? He's playing. Okay, please, can I speak with him? Hello, Junior. Oh, my baby. Mommy loves you. Mommy is going to buy you a car, okay? Okay, dear. Take good care of yourself. Bye.
Madam, I told you.
Julia, you should open a church and I will be the first member.
It's easy to become a victim of mobile money fraud. Be careful or you lose all your money.
Thank you very much. Let me call this man. Yes, hello. Oh, so you are still waiting for the money. Look at this thief. If it is money you wanted, you should have just told me. Foolish man.
Don't lose guard. Be smart. Don't become a victim of mobile money fraud. Stay safe.
Welcome to another edition of the Chamber Dialogue, and as we said, we are all about educating you and equipping you with the information and tools you need to, protect yourself. As you saw in the ad that play, it's not always, or you should not always fall victim to fraudsters who call you, basically threatening you and giving you cause for concern about incidents about your family members. Some could be true, but you always have to do your checks first before you send any money or part with any valuable. So today's conversation is around protecting yourself from SIM swap fraud as well as other fraud technology. So the first conversation is going to be had with Mr. Anthony Tichi. He's the manager for customer service at MTN. Welcome, sir, to today's edition of the Chamber
Thank you.
Dialogue.
Thanks for having me, Bobby.
Now, the fraudsters are hungry, they are angry, they are just going all out, defrauding innocent Ghanaians. Now, for me, one key issue is SIM swap fraud.
Yeah.
You hear it, but not a lot of people get it. So tell me, what is SIM swap fraud?
Okay. So, SIM swap or SIM replacement, others also call it SIM change. It's actually, if you look at it critically, it's a service that mobile network operators provide to their customers. So a customer has lost the phone, or the SIM card is damaged, or the customer in some instances need a resizing of their SIM, depending on the device they want to use. Will come to the MNO and ask for a SIM change or swap. So it's a process where the MNO places the phone number on another SIM for the use of the authorized user. Now, in terms of fraud, what fraudsters do is to use unauthorized means. Sometimes they use social engineering to get the MNOs to move another person's number onto a SIM card that they're holding, so they gain access to the SIM card. And that is only the foundation to a lot of other fraud that happens, because once the fraudster has the SIM, then he can perform other transactions, and mostly it's financial.
Okay. So we're going to get into how a SIM swap manifests itself. Yeah. But basically, what you're saying is, if I have my SIM, and not you, but if person A has their SIM, someone else can gather information about them. If it's Ama, for example, or Koku, so someone can gather information about Koku, his password, his date of birth, his name, his favorite thing, and then call MTN, Airtel, Tigo, or Vodafone and say, even though I'm not Koku, they will say, okay, they'll pretend they are Koku.
Yes.
So that Koku's SIM is changed or transferred onto another
SIM which they have, or which they will be given. So that is the general way by which this process go. But I think we go into how this can be.
Yeah. So they basically pretend they are you.
Yes.
And then get them to say, oh, I've lost my phone, or they've stolen my phone. So my SIM, can you please move it on to something?
Exactly.
Okay. So now, for you, how does it manifest itself in terms of some of the dangers of SIM swapping?
Okay. So once a fraudster gains access to your SIM card, and today our SIM cards are connected to our businesses, so people receive phone calls,
your bank accounts, Facebook,
phone calls. They do negotiations on their phones. Yeah. So that alone, if the fraudster gains access to your SIM card, it means that you will not have those calls or SMS coming in.
So if anybody calls me, my family member is calling me, it won't come to my phone again.
Exactly. The fraudster would answer that.
Wow.
Again, many of us have also linked SIM cards to financial institutions, banks. Now we have a lot of bank apps that operate on the SIM card when it's in the phone. And so you can easily do bank transactions when you have that SIM card.
Yeah.
And again, when the fraudster has some information regarding your bank and the passwords to these banking apps. Mobile money is also resident on SIM cards. So, and the other people also may have credit card information that when the fraudsters get your SIM, you have that kind of information. Apart from even the financial gains, social media platforms are also connected to the SIM cards. So for a fraudster who wants to do damage to you in terms of reputation,
on Facebook,
Twitter, or any of these platforms, even on WhatsApp, because in some cases we've heard of fraudsters sending messages to close contacts of their victims, providing some information that may damage their reputation, or soliciting for financial assistance and so on. So it is financial, but we need to also look at the reputational damage that comes with gaining access, unauthorized access to people's SIM cards.
So just to break it down, so I wouldn't say Masood, but Abdul is sitting somewhere in, let's say, the Savannah region.
Yeah.
He's going all about his business, and then a fraudster can call his network and say, I am Abdul, even though they are not. My date of birth is so and so, and I want to change my SIM because I lost my phone in a river.
Yes.
If they have enough information about you, they can answer all the questions that the telcos would ask them, the security questions.
Yes.
And then successfully have it transferred.
Yes, exactly. But it depends on the mode and channels over which these changes are allowed by the MNOs and what kind of protocols or requirements that needs to be fulfilled before these are done. So in principle, this is how it goes, but it doesn't mean that these fraud cases happen on all the channels. For instance, the example you made by a call doesn't mean that when I call my MNO and ask for a SIM change to be done, immediately that happens. So for most MNOs, you need to visit.
So I'll come to the protocols as to what you need to successfully do
the
a
requirements,
SIM swap. SIM swap. So now, in Ghana, as we have it, we have about 31 million, 32 million. About 40 million people have SIMs.
Yeah.
You know, we are 30, so some people have double SIMs and the likes. And so, day in and day out, if you're watching, you might think that, okay, your phone is safe, but there are fraudsters out there who are doing all they can to move your phone away or swap your SIM. So they could call someone and say, okay, my name is, Obi, say, and I've lost my phone. So can you, I bought a new SIM. Can you swap to this number? Then they would ask me some questions or to go through some protocols and then have that done. Once that is done, people have linked their Facebooks to their their SIMs, such that the Facebook, even if you enter your name and your password, they might tell you they will send a text to your SIM for you to access.
Yes.
But once that person has taken over Bobie's SIM, if they send a text, it won't come to me. It will go to them.
To the fraudster,
then they can get into my Facebook, my Twitter, and then WhatsApp, and be sending people messages to call people and be like, I need money and that kind of thing. So that's how it works. Now, how troubling is it in these days? Is it something that's on the rise? Is it and what are some of the damages it's done to customers?
Yes, it's actually on the rise. Fraudsters are getting very smart about it. They are using all manner of ways to gather information, because remember, before they don't just attack anyone. They would attack people they have information on, so that it makes it easy for them to transact or perform the damages they intend to. So we've had cases where people have reported of losing money from their bank accounts, or observing transactions on their apps that they did not authorize. We've also seen situations where certain posts have been made on people's social media accounts, and it didn't come from them. So like I said from the beginning, it could be financial, but it could also be very reputational, especially for people who are in very important places and who certain things may not be linked to them. This process, depending on what the objective is,
they
can cause these
money,
damages. They may not want money.
Cause reputational damage.
Exactly.
Wow. So that's sometimes you're on Facebook and you hear someone's account has been hacked. Sometimes that could be you're on a WhatsApp platform, and then a number would be posting some things about some investment. It's possible that they have been hacked.
Yes.
And how much money? Someone might be sitting down and be like, oh, maybe not much is being lost. But I know from my research that people have lost $200,000 because their accounts have been swapped outside. In Ghana, from your experience within the industry, how much are people losing? Is it 1 city, 2 city, 3 city?
Yeah, of course, the fraudsters will not go through all this, because remember, there are several attacks, but only very small percentage of these volumes in terms of attacks get successful. So they are not going to attack for 1 city. I may not be able to provide an industry volume in terms of how much money I've lost, but there's been reported cases of people losing significant amount of money from various financial institutions or mobile money, or even suffering some reputational damages. So you see a lot of people posting on social media that 3 days ago there was a post like this, please know that it's not it didn't come from me, and my account was hacked. Sometimes it starts from the swapping or unauthorized swapping of the SIMs by these people.
You use the word unauthorized, which means that we need to educate people that within the system, the telecommunication system, there is authorized SIM swaps, or there are authorized SIM swaps.
Of course.
People have genuine reasons why they will do swaps.
Exactly.
So that happens, right?
Exactly. So as I indicated in my intro, it's a service.
Yeah.
So if my phone gets missing, for instance, I would need a new SIM of my same number. If the SIM gets damaged, I would need a replacement of the SIM bearing the same number. If I need to resize, and these days a lot of the MNOs already have this pre-sizes, so it's a thing of the past for now. But hitherto, it was the ish. If you buy a device and you need that minute micro SIM, you need to resize.
So that's for those who are moving from YAMs to very expensive phones.
Yeah, and sometimes certain tablets also requires the bigger types.
Yes.
And if you have the micro one, you need to resize. So there are genuine reasons why people request for a SIM swap, and this happens in most MNOs on a daily basis because people lose their SIMs, for whatever reason. So it is the unauthorized access to another person's SIM, which is the fraudulent part of SIM swap, because SIM swapping alone is by name is not a negative thing. You understand? So that's basically what it is.
Now, some might be sitting down and saying, well, it's the fault of the MNOs, it's the fault of MTN, it's the fault of Airtel, it's the fault of Vodafone. They'll say you're not doing enough to protect people. I mean, anyone can call, and then if they have some information about me, they end up transferring my number to themselves, and then they perpetrate all sorts of evil. So what kind of processes do you have in place to ensure that the SIM swaps are not the unauthorized types? Yes. I mean, generally.
Yeah. So I mean, industry-wise, every MNO has requirements. So first of all, and it's not just about SIM swap. For every service provision that requires authentication of the customer, and for the protection of the customer's identity and information, we require that the customer produces an ID. And today it's a bit easy because we are going towards, or we are almost there, where we're using just one ID type, the Ghana card. So it makes it a bit simpler. Hitherto there were different IDs that could be used for the registration. So
but still, now, if I have other IDs, would they do a SIM swap for me?
Yes, if you're not registered, and that ID can also be authenticated or validated. But of course, we would advise you that in the next 1 day, you won't be able to use your SIM if you don't get the Ghana card to regularize. Yeah. So this is actually how it works. You have to produce an ID that authenticates you, that provides proof that the documentation or the KYC information we have of you is the same as you're providing per the ID, and that the ID is valid and it has the same KYC information and the picture that exists on that card with what we have. That way, to a certain large extent, the user or the requester of the SIM swap will be known to be the authorized owner of the SIM, for which reason the SIM swap or any other service that is required with them. When it happens over the online, digital, maybe, yes, sometimes I know some MNOs also run video calls to ensure that we are speaking to the right person and we can authenticate the picture. Apart from the authentication, the KYC information with the registering database. We can also match the picture of the person who is requesting for the SIM swap against the picture on the account, or in terms of the ID card.
This happens in Ghana, video calls by the MNOs?
Oh yes, yes.
Because, so
oh, yes,
when someone is calling from New Pram, you know, I mean, it's in Greater Accra, but up north with a feature phone, I mean, and there's no video facility. How do you verify?
Yeah, so there are various platforms for different people. So for those who have the data-enabled handsets, of course, they will use the digital channels and the social media channels to do that. You can do that using the feature phones.
Yep.
So for such people, they may have to move to the MNO's authorized agent. And there are several branches, and in some MNOs also have authorized dealers who accept physical visits and authentication of this to happen.
But I know some people who say they've sat in their house and have been able to successfully swap their SIMs without going to the agents or the MNOs.
And it wasn't also through the online channels?
It was just by a call.
A phone call? Yeah, well, like I said, there are several MNOs with different requirements over the channels. So I wouldn't say that may not happen,
yes,
but I may not be able to speak to the various requirements that must happen before that also happens.
But so currently all the MNOs have systems in place or are improving their systems to ensure that the SIM swaps that happen are the genuine ones and not the unauthorized.
Of course, and I'm sure when we gather an industry volume in terms of the number of people who do SIM swap per day is very high, and is one of the top visit reasons for the various branches, why people go to the branches. SIM swap is high. So yes, once in a while you have one or two happening that is unauthorized, but even that, the details must be investigated and we see where the gaps are. Because these attacks, like I mentioned, would happen on people that the fraudsters have information on. If they don't know your name, they won't be able to attempt. If they don't know how easy it is to get into your bank apps, for instance, if they don't have information on your username or password on your bank app or your mobile money app, it will be very difficult for them to just attack.
Okay. So now we're going to get into the reason why we're having this conversation. For the ordinary Ghanaian watching out there, what clear things can they do to make sure they protect themselves from having their SIM swap?
Okay, so what the ordinary Ghanaian needs to do is that, and we need to be very proactive in this to ensure that SIM swaps are prevented, or even when they happen, the damages are minimal. Okay. So first of all, once a fraudster gets access to your SIM, it means that you stop receiving calls. It means that you may not be able to use your phone to make calls or transact the normal way. So if you see that your phone is not working, it's important that you make this report to your MNO.
So the call...
First of all, you can call if you are not in a position to visit the service center or the MNO's office. I'm sure we all know the various channels through which to make the calls.
I think 100 across.
100 across. So you can even place that call to place a request to block your SIM until such a time that you are able to visit and get a replacement of the SIM. That way, even if it happened in terms of the SIM swap, the unauthorized SIM swap, if it happens, you would have prevented the subsequent transactions that may have occurred, or that the fraudsters in their minds would have purported to do.
So that's one.
That is one.
Make sure that if your service is acting up, you're not able to make calls or receive messages, get in touch with your service provider, or make a call to take some action.
Exactly.
What was the next one?
Yes. So the second thing too that I would advise is that sometimes these fraudsters, before they effect their fraudulent act, they would want to push your focus away from what you're going to do. So you start receiving calls from people talking about things that you have nothing about, you know nothing about. And sometimes the calls keep coming just to take your attention off what they are going to do. So if you start receiving calls incessantly, I mean, a lot of calls happening and you do not understand why this is happening, it's also important that you alert your MNOs and place a note on your account that no SIM swap should happen on this account, or just notify them for them to take some preventive actions.
So you shared
well.
two. Do you have more to share?
Again, remember that the fraudsters don't attack anyone. They will attack you when they have information. So it's important for us to also be vigilant in the way we provide our information. These days, people put all manner of things on social media. And
date of birth, their phone numbers, everything.
Yes, and sometimes you'll be amazed how people even keep their ID cards.
Wow.
You know, so when people have your ID card, they have your KYC information, and then you can start planning on what else to do. So it's important that we keep our information, our personal information, safe
and secure,
because the fraudsters will use phishing methods and sometimes social engineering to gather bits and pieces of information on you from different platforms, and then they can connive with other people to hit. So I believe that if we do these three, we should be
fine.
Yes, and for the MNOs, if I may,
yes.
I think we've seen a lot of improvement in terms of the verification platforms, the customer authentication platforms that these MNOs use in establishing the identity and ownership of their customers. So it's important that we keep on improving these processes to ensure that they are tight and they are safe. Because first of all, we have a responsibility towards keeping the customer's account safe and protecting the customer information, and also avoiding the unauthorized access to customer information in customer accounts.
Wow. Interesting. So, I mean, if you didn't take anything away, just remember that the fraudsters are on the loose, and they will make all types of attempts to get access to your SIM, swap your SIM, get access to your social media accounts or bank accounts. If they are not taking your money, they are causing you some harm to your reputation, and that some reputation, some damages, are very hard to actually recover from. So protect your data. Make sure you're not sharing so much data out there. Protect, your ID cards and all other forms of, identification very, very well. The other thing, I mean, he basically mentioned that if you see that your network is not working well, or you're not getting service, make sure you get in touch with your MNO and dial 100 100 to MTN and Airtel, Tigo and Vodafone. You will get help. And also, if you get incessant calls, people are calling you left, right, and center from places you do not know, make sure you get in touch with your MNO as well. So, like I said, this is the first part of the conversation with Mr. Anthony Techi, Customer Service Manager at MTN. 20 minutes is not enough to discuss fraud, but at least we've gotten that message across. Be careful out there. The fraudsters are out there. They are acting. And you should also protect yourself, your family, and your valuable. So thank you so much. Unless you have something final you want to, tell customers out there.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bobby, once again. So just to conclude, we should always be very vigilant and protect our information. And if for any reason you suspect that your SIM card is not working, you don't have to wait a day to get this reported or get a replacement of your SIM, because the fraudsters may be transacting or may be causing other damages. So just act immediately to find out that your SIM is not working. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me.
Grateful.
Thanks, man.
My name is Bobby Osei. You're watching the Chamber Dialogue coming from the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications. We'll be right back.
Fellow Ghanaians, to easily check the number of SIM cards registered to your Ghana card, please use the short code *402*1#. You can follow the following steps to find out how many SIM cards are registered to your Ghana card. Step 1. Dial the short code *402*1# on any network. Step 2. Enter your Ghana card PIN. Make sure you enter letters and figures without any spaces or hyphens for verification, just like this. Step 3. Make sure you enter your date of birth in numbers with the day followed by the month and the year you were born in without any spaces or hyphen for verification, just like this. Step 4. Once verified, you will receive an SMS with a list of mobile numbers linked to your Ghana card, including the corresponding networks. Now, if you identify any unknown mobile number or numbers linked to your Ghana card, please visit the service center or retail shop of your service provider for a delinking of the number or numbers. For more information, call 100 on all networks or NCA on 0800-110-622. Remember to register your SIM cards before the 31st of May 2023 to avoid being deactivated from your network. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications with information provided by the NCA.